All right, guys, what is good today? So, what's the news on MicroStrategy? And I'm going to show you some charts, show you some articles. We're going to talk today about states that are pouring into MicroStrategy. We're going to talk about Bitcoin outflows, massive outflows out of the ETFs. I'm going to talk about whether we are at a top for MicroStrategy. Has it peaked? And Bitcoin, and what do the charts say, and what do I think? And we're going to jump in now. All right. So, whatever the market sentiment is out there, or whatever your sentiment is out there, I hope things are going well with you. And again, this is not financial advice. This is for educational and informational purpose only, should not be considered financial, legal, or investment advice. Okay. So, do your own research. This is just for educational purposes only. Now, let's take a look at what's happening in the world today that's exciting. And let's take a look at some of the bearish news too, right? Because we obviously know that a lot of people feel bearish about what's going on. So let's just start off with some of the bearish news here. We got Bitcoin leads its first major weekly crypto outflows of 2025 at 430 million last week. So there was a big outflow in Bitcoin. We went weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks straight for inflows, and we had 430 million in outflows. So that is not the best sign ever. However, let's take a look at some other good indicators in terms of MicroStrategy here. And let's see about what U.S. states are doing with MicroStrategy. So 12 U.S. states hold a total of $330 million stake in Saylor Strategy. California, which was news to me, has the largest investment in strategy stock. It has more than 150 million held in state retirement funds. So that's pretty fascinating that states are pouring into MicroStrategy. We have 12 states in North America that have reported holding strategy and totaling 330 million at the end of 2024. Retirement funds and treasuries in California, Florida, Wisconsin, North Carolina have the most exposure to strategy, which is interesting. We have teacher retirement funds here, have the largest holdings in Michael Saylor's strategy firm with 285,785 shares, worth around 83 million at the time. That forms were filed on February 14th. And then we have the California State Teachers Retirement Fund, totals 69 billion in various stocks, okay, such as Coinbase and other types of crypto stocks as well. So, or crypto-related stocks. So it's interesting to see that we have states that are aping in here. Of course, we have MicroStrategy that has 478,000 coins worth around $46 billion. So that's some bullish news with the outflow of money from the ETFs last week. This is bullish news of what's going on with the states. So that's always nice to see, which is good news in times where people are wondering what's going on with the markets. I'll show you some of my trading charts. Me and my buddy are playing a little game of trading MSTU, so I'll show you that in a moment here. And then I want to show you a chart right now because this answers the question of whether we're at a peak. And this just shows you a chart here that shows the MVRV, which is basically the market value and the realized value. The market value is basically what the market value is currently at, like the current market price. So you can see the market cap here, which is the black line, which obviously I just got rid of for some reason. But again, you can see the black line here, which is the market value. And then you can see the blue line, which is the realized value, which is basically what people have paid for it. So the market value is higher than the realized value currently in terms of what people have paid. So that's what MVRV means. And then the most important thing to look at here is if you want to see if Bitcoin has peaked, and obviously MicroStrategy is relative to that. If you look at the previous bull runs, you can see the peak coming here in 2021, and you can see that the score is a 7. So anytime you're above 7, that's typically the peak of a market cycle. So if you have 7, if you move up in this area here that's red, and you can see the line, the yellow line is spiking. So when I go up here and you see this, that's where the yellow line is spiking here. And so in 2021, you see it spiking into this red area, which is a peak. You can see in 2018 where it goes way above the red area. So that's a peak in 2018. You go back in 2014, you see it's way above. That's a peak. So if you look at us currently right now, the score is like in the twos here. And so a peak would be up at 7. And so right now we're down in the twos, 2.5. So per this chart, it's showing that we have not peaked in this cycle relative to Bitcoin. And it still shows that from my viewpoint of it, we're still in the bull run. So 2.5 is where we're at approximately. And you look at the peak is up here around 7. If you look to the right of the chart and you follow it all the way across here, this was the peak in 2021, a score of 7. And then the peak was a score of like 10 in 2018 was the peak of the cycle. So we are not in a peak compared to 2.5, comparatively to 7 in a previous cycle, comparatively to 10 in another cycle, comparatively to 9 in another cycle. We're not in a peak. And you go back to 2012, you can see 7.36 was the peak. So we're down at a 2 point in the 2 range. So that's this chart is helpful in looking at this from Bitcoin Magazine Pro. You can check it out yourself. Data's in there because it's always good to look at graphs and data to see what the hell is going on and reinforce. Like I look for data that is real, but also data that reinforces my conviction of what I'm doing. So obviously I have a biased viewpoint on this, but I try and give data that's unbiased, and this is data that's unbiased. My conviction still maintains being strong. I bought more MicroStrategy this week again. So I bought in at 331. I think it was yesterday when the markets opened. And that's a good sign. So very, 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 very bullish. And that's exciting. And I have to jump off to another call here in a moment because I just got pinged. But 20 U.S. states push Bitcoin reserve bills, potentially igniting a $23 billion Bitcoin buying frenzy. So this is another piece of news that is done by Van Eck, head of digital assets research, to say if a bunch of the states ape in, we could be at $23 billion, which is pretty cool. So we all know that a bunch of states are applying right now across the board. So the estimation is that there could be about 247,000 Bitcoin that states buy if a bunch of the states get approved. So we have Oklahoma, Massachusetts, Wyoming, Ohio, Texas, Utah, North Dakota, Iowa, Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri, Maryland, New Mexico, South Dakota. I think South Dakota or North Dakota just bailed. So it's one state that denied it already. I think it was North Dakota. But Florida, $8.7 billion they're planning on. Arizona's $8.7 billion, Florida, $3 billion allocation, Missouri, $1.7 billion allocation. So these are what some of the states are thinking about allocating into Bitcoin, which is also super good news. I was not sharing my screen there, so let me share my screen and show you. So that's great news. As you see what's happening with the states and what the states are thinking about doing, it's positive. Again, here's the headline. You can look at Bitcoin News. This is where it comes from. 20 state Bitcoin bills could unleash $23 billion buying wave. So that is good news as well. Again, it's a slow process and slow burn for the states because it has to go through the House and the Senate. And there's a few states that are pushing along the line faster and all the other ones are behind. And North Dakota, I think, is a no already. But it's going to happen. States are aping in. Just watch the game. And it's going to be good. So this is very, very bullish stuff. Also, rather than showing you the headline, because I got to go, MicroStrategy just announced another $2 billion convertible bond offering. So it's coming very, very soon, which is $2 billion of converts, which don't mature into 2030. So basically it's like, hey, people, give me $2 billion, loan me the money. We'll give you 0% interest. And in 2030, you can decide if you want to convert it into stock of MicroStrategy, or if you want your cash back, or you want a combination of both. So that is what's happening in the world. So all these things look very good. And it's exciting for MicroStrategy. I do have to run. I just wanted to give you some quick good news. But again, I put another big stake in at 331, my position. I bought in last week at 337. So my sentiment is still the same. I believe we're still going above 600 in terms of Bitcoin. In terms of MicroStrategy, I believe we're still going to 150,000 minimum Bitcoin. 180,000 is my bull case. I believe we're going to hit a 600 MicroStrategy at a minimum. Actually, my minimum is the all-time high at 540, and then I believe we're going to over 800. My bullish case is $1,000. So I still maintain that position. That's where I am, but that's the news for today. I hope it serves you, and I will see you guys on the flip side.